This is day 5 of our challenge and we're going to be painting this stunning artwork. The first color that we are going to be mixing is mulberry. For mulberry, use 2 parts of red and 1 part of blue. You might have to change around the proportion a bit more to get the exact color. The next color that we'll be mixing is eggplant. Here we're switching the proportions. We're going to be doing 1 part of red and 2 parts of blue. You might have to add more blue to get a deeper eggplant color. The next color that we will be mixing is Hunter's Green. For Hunter's Green, take 2 parts of Indian yellow. You can see how this yellow has a warm shade to it. To this yellow, let us add 1 part of blue. This is a cobalt blue color. We are also going to be adding a little bit of red. Very little, just a dab of it. And this is going to give our green a much more vintage look. It's going to be more muddy, and that's the color that we are going for. Now, once you mix the red, you might notice your combination becomes very dark. If that happens, just go ahead and add a little bit more of yellow. One tip is to always make sure you wash your brush before you add in and mix the color in. So always wash your brush before mixing it. This is the final day of the challenge and I have left the best for the last. This is my favorite painting of the series. Once you've got your color mixes ready, take out your A5 sheet and let's start. I am starting with a circle with the mulberry color, a proper circle. Now load up your brush with yellow and we are going to paint some heart-shaped petals. I like to vary the shape of the petals, so some of them will be heart-shaped and some will just be curved. This way you can control the spread of the mulberry color. If you do want the color to mix in, gently pull the color from the center to form a petal. In case too much color spreads, use a dry brush to pick up the color. Now in this case, what I'm going to do is mix around this technique. So in some petals, I'll pull that mulberry color, whereas in some, I will not. That way, the yellow still remains quite intact. You can see how lightly I pull that mulberry color just by a gentle line. And that is enough for the color to spread. I love how stunning this flower looks, and I like the colors. I like how it's turned out. Let's do a similar one right next to it. We're following the same exact technique, painting the center with mulberry and then going ahead and using mustard or Indian yellow to paint out our petals. Now that we've got two flowers along the center, let's add a third flower. For this flower, I've chosen blue as it is for the center, using dots in the form of circle to create texture. I like that texture look, and it just gives it a much more different effect to the painting. Now I've loaded up my brush with clear water and added in a beautiful mix of eggplant. Now using eggplant, I'll add some dots along the circle. Now let's use clear water and pull through the paint from the center to form a petal. Along the way, using that purple drop to spread around a stunning petal. I've taken a little bit blue in my brush this time and continuing on along the same process. Again, using clear water and painting the third petal. Painting the fourth and fifth using that same clear water without washing out my brush. Can do another fifth and sixth petal, all with the same brush. I'm just adjusting the size of those petals, making them fairly bold, and painting out the final petal. Now gently add some thin lines that connect these petals to the center, and you can see that beautiful blue spread out. Now let's add a line of flowers. So using green, I'm doing a broken line curved towards the outside. Let's wash our brush and we can load it with red. Using the red, let's paint some petals. This is similar to what we did in day 2. However, here we're being a little bit more organized. So I've done a quick set of 5 petal flowers. Now using clear water, I'm adding a little bit of that red mix. I'm taking the red that already is present in my flowers and using them to paint more petals. What I'm trying to do is add flowers along that green line that I just painted. While the painting is still wet, use eggplant to paint out the center of the flowers. Because it is still wet, that eggplant color will slightly blend in with the already painted flowers. Let us go back to our flower. Using the same eggplant, let's add some dots to the flower. Now we can also add in some outlines for each of the petals using the technique we used before, which is adding broken lines. The idea is to highlight the painting, highlight the flower, but not really take away from it. So use your script liner or thin detailer brush to add in those outlines. You'll also notice with the outlines, I don't make them exactly specific to what has already been painted. I do take a little bit of leeway with it. The white spaces are also part of the flower. One at a time, complete all the petals of the flower. Now that we have done this, we're going to go ahead and add another stem of flowers on the other side of this painting. What I generally like to do is to draw out the stem because it helps me understand the direction of the flowers. So here you can see I've got one set of flowers that is going to go upwards and another one downwards. This is gonna make my painting process a lot more easier. So starting as last time with red flowers, can go ahead and just pile them up in that area. Make sure to use your round brush because it's a far easier brush to work with when you're doing florals. I always switch around colors, as in midway through my painting, I wash my brush and use clear water and pull paint from existing flowers. And other times when I feel like it's becoming very light, I wash my brush, pick up a little bit of the paint and start. So it is a process of constantly playing around with your paint. Once I'm happy with the number of flowers, go ahead and use the green to add some rounded leaves. Now, if you can do this while it's still wet, that green color will merge in with your existing flowers, giving it a beautiful effect. Now that the top portion of this painting is very busy, I'm adding some green leaves at the bottom to balance it out, making sure to start the stem from an existing flower outwards. Similarly, even the rounded leaves start from the flower or existing flower and move away from it. Also, using the technique of having smaller leaves as I move away from the flower. Now, using some green splatters around the painting to give it texture. In this painting, there is no specific shape of placement that I've used, unlike the previous paintings. However, I've tried to keep in mind that the central flowers occupy the center of the painting, and then you have these flowers and leaves moving away from them. To bring a little bit more texture to the painting, I'm using eggplant pigment to paint dots around the center of my flowers. This gives it a little bit more texture and completes the painting. This is day 5 of our 5-day challenge.
Congratulations on completing the 5-day challenge. You can use the hashtag Femvisionary challenge on Instagram to post your projects as well as to see your fellow participants' projects and to comment and cheer them on. If you would like to learn more about watercolor florals, I have a signature 6-week course called the Watercolor Florals for Beginner Artists. It is a lovely course that involves brushstroke painting, a lot of varieties of different florals, over 14 plus step-by-step projects. You can check it out on my website. Thank you for watching my class and have a really good week.